In this video, we are going to take a look at multi-step equations in which we need to both distribute and combine like terms. So it's important when we work with these types of equations that we remember we must simplify first before we solve. We want it to make it as easy as possible. We want to pack things up before we move across the equal sign. So in our first problem, I have 9 equals 6 subtract the sum of x and 2. So to get started, I'm going to go ahead and put my balance. On the left, I just have a constant, so I'm not worried about the left-hand side, but on the right-hand side, I have some things happening here. The parentheses tell me that I have multiplication of something, and out front, there's this negative sign. Don't forget that that means I have a -1 out front. Well, if I have a -1 in parentheses, this means that I need to distribute. And of course, distribute is multiplication. So we're going to rewrite the entire problem, and we are actually going to distribute as we work through. So I'm going to bring the 9 down because we haven't used it. There's my equal sign. The 6 is not part of the distribution, so 6 comes straight down. -1 times x, well, that's -1x. So you can write the 1, or you can just write -x. -1 times +2, well, -1 times +2 is -2. Okay, I've distributed. Up next, I still see that on this right-hand side, there's more I can do. I have 2 constants, which means that I can combine like terms. So let's rewrite this again. So that means 9 equals, well, if I rewrite 6 and -2 when I combine them, 6 minus 2 is 4. And this term here with the variable is just -1x. As all multi-step equations do, we are now back to a 2-step equation. I'm solving for x. I look, first I'm going to move the constant. Remember, I want to move what's furthest away from the x value. So I'm going to move this constant. This is a +4, and I know that because there's nothing in front of the 4 that tells me it's not positive. So I'm going to subtract the 4 from both sides. Well, 9 minus 4 is 5 equals 4 minus 4 are additive inverses. That makes 0. I'm going to bring down the -1x. Still solving for x, which is not alone yet. I still have this -1 attached, and I'm going to undo that. Remember, that's multiplication, so I undo multiplication with division. 5 divided by -1 is -5 equals -1 divided by -1 is 1, so that would be 1x. And I'm just going to write that as x. Go ahead and flip that around, and I'm going to say, well, that means that x equals -5. Let's go ahead and take a look at our next example. I have 5 in parentheses, so the difference of 1 and -2w. Then I need to add on 8w, and that will equal 15. So if I take a look, let's think here. If I'm go ahead and I give myself my balance, I notice right up that I'm going to need to distribute. So I'm going to go ahead and distribute this problem here. Distribute the 5 into the parentheses. 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times -2w, -10w. Bring down, remember the parentheses make the distribution stop. So now I'm just going to bring down the plus 8w equals 15. All right. I still notice that it's not as simple as it can be yet because we've not combined like terms. I have 2 variable terms. If I put -10w and +8w together, combining, that's addition and subtraction, well, that would be -2w. I still have this constant. There's not another constant, so I'm just going to rewrite that. +5, so +5 equals 15. That's a 2-step equation. Again, multi-step equations will take us back to 2-step equations once we have distributed and combined like terms. I'm going to move add 5 with the inverse, so I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides. -2w drops down. 5 and -5, that is 0, equals 15 minus 5. Well, 15 minus 5 is 10. And here I have multiplication. -2w, that's multiplication. I undo multiplication with division. Please use fraction bars for division for algebra. -2 divided by -2 is 1, so I have 1w, which we're just going to write w, equals, and 10 divided by -2, well, 10 divided by -2 is -5 as well. Okay, we're going to take it up just a notch here. We're going to take a look at 2 more problems. Here on number 3, 17 equals, I'm going to give my balance. 17 is just a constant. I definitely see that I have distribution on the right-hand side. So let's go ahead and rewrite. 17 equals 3 times p, 3p. 3 times negative 5 is negative 15. The constant, we're just going to put that here at the end because it's not part of the distribution. We have now done the first step. We remove parentheses, we use distribution. Now I need to combine like terms, and I see that I have two constants that need to go together. So we'll rewrite 17 equals 3p is going to drop straight down. I only have one variable term. Negative 15, positive 8. When I combine negative 15 and positive 8, that would be negative 7. Back to a two-step equation. I'm going to start by undoing the subtraction. I will use the inverse, which is addition, so we'll add 7 to both sides. 17 plus 7 is 24, equals the 3p drops. Now remember, I put the line through the negative 7 and the 7 to remind myself, well, that's 0. I just don't write plus 0 anymore. I'm still solving for p, though. I'm not finished yet. 3p, that means multiplied between the two, so I'm going to go ahead and divide using that fraction bar. And 24 divided by 3 is 8 equals p. I'm going to go ahead and flip that around and say, well, that means that p equals 8, just to get in the habit of putting the variable first. One more. A little bigger, same concept. We've not changed the rules. We're going to distribute, and then we're going to combine like terms. So negative 8 is going to go to b, and negative 8 is going to go to negative 5. That would be negative 8b. Negative 8 and negative 5 is positive 40. This one stops. Now, notice again, now I have a different set. So this positive 7 is now going to go to the second distribution. So 7 and 1, that's positive 7. Please write plus 7 there. And positive 7 and negative b, that's negative 7b. Now, this negative 73 on the right-hand side, I'm just going to bring it down because, well, we don't need to do anything with that constant yet. We have distributed, but to simplify, we must distribute and then combine like terms. I noticed that I have two variable terms. I have negative 8b and negative 7b. Well, negative 8b and negative 7b, that would be negative 15b. And then we're going to add, I have 40 and 7. If I put 40 and 7 together, well, 40 plus 7 is 47. And then I still have the equals negative 73. Okay, two-step equation. Move the constant first. I undo addition with subtraction, or I use the inverse operation. So I'm going to subtract negative 47, or I'm going to subtract 47 from negative 73. Negative 15b drops straight down. 47, subtract 47, well, that's going to disappear. That's 0, equals. Now, negative 73 and negative 47. Same signs, so we're going to add and we're going to keep that negative. So this would be negative 120. Still solving for b. Well, I'm going to divide both sides by negative 15. So I have b equals, first I know a negative divided by a negative is going to give me a positive. And 120 divided by 15, well, 120 divided by 15 is 8. So again, we must distribute, combine, and then we will end up with a two-step equation, and we just simply solve our two-step equation.